advocates, what is the main principle or main motive behind, what is the main goal of this particular party that it aims to achieve? Is it is an advocate of, it advocates for the independence of Hello students, welcome back to Paathshala classes. This is Shashwat, one of the faculty members of Paathshala classes, and today we shall be dealing with the latest current affair that is in news as to who is the Canada's new winner of the election. And here we are going to discuss Mark Carney, who has won the election, and now that he is going to serve as the new Canada's Prime Minister. In a historic electoral outcome, the Prime Minister Mark Carney has declared victory in Canada's federal election, securing a fourth term for his Liberal Party. A point to be noted is it is his fourth term for the party that he is representing is the Liberal Party. The election results and parliamentary dynamics. With regard to this, we will be discussing what was the electoral dynamics which led to this great victory. In Canada's parliamentary system, a party requires basically 172 seats to form a majority government. Should no party achieve this threshold, the leading party must govern as a minority. This is the system which is prevalent in Canada. This is the electoral system that is prevalent there, and this is what is followed. Please do note that if a party does not attain 172 seats to form a majority, then it can govern as the minority party as well. However, while the Liberals have successfully secured governance in this particular election, wherein the Prime Minister Mark Carney has achieved the majority and has also declared the victory in the Canada's federal election, he, being the person representing from the leading party, has successfully secured governance, and the early indications suggest that they may fall short of an outright majority too. If so, they could depend on the bloc québécois. What is this now? Bloc québécois. I want you all to go through this particular term. What is this? They could depend on the bloc québécois. It is a separatist party. A separatist party advocating for the independence of Quebec to maintain stability in the parliament. This is a separate party of Canada. Fine. And this party is a separatist party as well. Finally, it advocates, what is the main principle or main motive behind, what is the main goal of this particular party that it aims to achieve? Is it is an advocate of, it advocates for the independence of Quebec in order to maintain the parliamentary setup or the parliamentary governance in the country. Moving ahead, in the past, the Liberal Party under former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, please note the name. The former Prime Minister, Mr. Justin, relied on the New Democratic Party, NDP, for support. However, the NDP suffered a loss in seats during this election, and it consequently reduced its political leverage. With regard to a record of voter turnout in this particular election, we will see what was the turnout. Firstly, this election witnessed an unprecedented wave of early voting, with around 7.3 million Canadians casting their ballots before election day. What was the average rate of the votes? It was 7.3 million Canadians who casted their ballots before the election day only. Also, this surge was partly fueled by widespread dissatisfaction with the US political climate under President Trump, leading to acts of protest such as cancelling vacations to US and boycotting American products. Please note, what were the consequences that had occurred in due course? That includes these 2 points, wherein the dissatisfaction with the US led to boycotting of US products as well as cancelling vacations to the US too. Apart from this, the foreign policy, typically a minor issue in Canadian elections, took center stage for the first time since 1988, when debates over free trade with the US dominated the political discourse. Moving ahead, the external pressures on Canada includes the very first being the relation with Canada and the US have grown increasingly strained, especially under Mr. Trump's presidency. The threat of tariffs on Canadian exports has created significant uncertainty too. Around more than 75% of Canadian exports are directed to the US, making the American market crucial to Canada's economy. Trump's threats to encourage North American automakers to relocate production south of the border could have devastated Canada's manufacturing sector too. Also, further noting, alongside these factors, the external pressures over Canada includes Canadians are grappling with a cost of living crisis that has driven economic concerns to the forefront of national debate. And lastly, we shall look forward as to the challenges ahead of Carney's administration. After the election of Mr. Carney as the Prime Minister of Canada, what would be foreseen or foreseeable challenges that this particular Prime Minister may face during his tenure as the Prime Minister and as an administrator of the country? The very first being, Mark can face a repairing Canada-US relation issue which is strained by trade wars and tariff threats, followed by he needs to address the cost of living crisis, which is already discussed in the previous slide, which includes rising housing prices and inflation rates. Managing Canada's export-driven economy. Since Canada's economy is an export-driven economy and it is highly dependent upon the exports, therefore, managing the whole management of this particular economy is a big challenge for Canada, and amid potential disruptions, since there are already potential disruptions in Canada, and tackling this simultaneously is not a small but a greater challenge indeed. Also, negotiating a political alliance if a minority government situation materializes. Let's suppose if the minority government, which is also allowed to rule and have governance in the country, which is as per the electoral dynamics of the country Canada, therefore materializing of this particular political party may be a threat, wherein this minority party, however, could not secure a good number of specified votes for its victory in the elections. However, since this party being the minority party and that this particular party has got a very less margin, has lost the elections with a very less margin of votes. Therefore, it can be a threat to his administration in his forthcoming tenure or forthcoming election. And lastly, sustaining economic growth while navigating international tensions and domestic pressures will require careful balancing and forward thinking policy making. There needs to be a good policy drafted and implemented in the country of Canada in order to address all these challenges, and particularly international tensions and the economic crisis that this particular country is currently facing. Therefore, this is all for today. Thank you so much for connecting with Paathshala classes. You can also subscribe to the YouTube channel of Paathshala classes